Hi, welcome back to Renee Ruth Real Estate. Hope everyone's doing well. Renee, how are you?
I'm great. Trying to stay cool.
Oh my gosh,
I think
these
we've been talking about
days.
the heat for
Oh
like
my gosh, I
episode
know.
of episode.
Summers are just brutal here. Oh my god, it's supposed to be up in the hundreds this week.
And there's probably people watching that are like, oh, that's every day for us.
I know.
But for us,
It's not every day
it's
here.
really hot.
Well, because the humidity also.
It's just kind of
like it's rough. It's like you're living in soup. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's like soup.
And then our air conditioner went out yesterday, so
It's just
it's a lot of things.
A lot of things, but in the midst of all of it, we still do real estate.
That's right. We still make it happen.
We make it happen.
So, and I mean, and again, the life of a real estate agent is about constantly pivoting.
We actually talked about that yesterday.
Right. Oh yeah, we did talk about it.
Yeah.
So, and as the market shifts, as of course we know, we could talk about the market shifting every single episode because
How about this? The market will always be
it
shifting.
will always be shifting, which is why you have to be able to pivot.
That's why you
If
always
you don't
have
want
to
to
be
pivot, you
pivoting.
should not be a real estate agent.
That's right.
It would make you
Depends on your
crazy.
toes. I know.
Right?
And sometimes it does for us.
And it does. So as it shifts, there's key points that are obviously going to be affected by that. One of which is listing prices. So we were talking to an agent yesterday that was talking about listing a house, and they kind of were going a little bit higher than we were thinking would probably be best. But again, when you go with that, I mean, obviously the seller is the one that has the final say.
They're in the
Like,
driver's seat.
you can run comps all day long, but they're the ones that are gonna have to decide what they want it to be. So you guys are kind of at the mercy of what they want.
In a way, I guess it's how you present it too, right? Like if you come at them, you're like, I know we could get like 50K more than it's worth, then they're gonna be like, oh, okay, you know.
Right.
So it's kind of what you set them up for, right? Like if you're honestly like, okay, guys, so the way I explained it yesterday is like I prefer to give the client the range. Like here's, you want to sell it today,
Right.
put it here. Like we'll have 4 offers, right? But that's like we've said this before, that's like the eBay buy it now thing, right? Like where if you list it and you list it for that bidding thing, you may get more or you may get less, you know, so
Right.
like, you have to have that, you know, and each client's needs are so individual. So that's why I like to give them a range, be like, how do we meet your goals? How do we meet the market? How do we find a balance where you'll be happy in the end? And
Right.
it's a process.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as, oh, your house is worth this. Like, oh, his estimate said that. Like, it's not that simple.
Right. Is there a danger in the overall price you're gonna get by starting the listing price in the wrong place?
The danger is if you start too high and it doesn't appraise. And then if you have, especially educating your client on appraisals.
Right.
Because appraisals are the bank calling the shots in the end, you know, and depending on what, you know, we're kind of past the market where you could demand what we came to know as appraisal gap fees.
Right.
And people are willing to pay an appraisal gap, and that's kind of now gone by the wayside. Thank God. That was just like one massive stress. Like, how much money do you have? Can you scrounge it for me?
Right.
Like, it was just, oh gosh.
Yeah.
So now to kind of be back in a more, it's more work for sure. Like it's more, there's more steps in the process, but it's nice to be able to kind of negotiate this stuff again. So yeah, there's a danger in anything. There's a danger
Right.
going too low and telling them that, you know, you say, yeah, if we start low, you'll get multiple offers, and then you don't. You can't go up.
Yeah,
but
then
you get
you're already like,
oh well,
you're
people
already
do
at that
go.
spot.
They do go up. I've seen
Yeah.
price raises, and it's like, but that makes no sense. Like, what did you do in the last week to potentially? So it's just, I think listing houses is incredibly complicated.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's a dance. You have to dance until you figure out how the market's going to respond to make your client happy enough. You know, it's a dance.
But if you have time, then if
they're
you're
not
not in a
hurry.
rush, then you
But
might
like
as well
one of our
start.
clients that it should be in a rush is not, because they have a contingency to sell, and it's been 2 weeks and their house still isn't under contract. But they feel no sense of urgency to reduce the price, like, you know, because that's not their space. So like, well, if it's meant to be, like, so you have to work with each
Yeah.
client's kind of goals, and they can't be your goals. Your goals are yours
Right.
and not theirs, and you need to focus on them. So
Yeah, I would think that one of the dangers of not being in a rush is the fact that if your house has been on the market for like 200 days, what's everybody thinking? That's going to come up and like, what's wrong?
We'll never be able to sell this ourselves, which is what one of our other clients should have thought.
Right.
Oh Lord, we too shall say, so we'll see. Yeah, and in everyone's situation is different. Like some people can't take any less than this because they can't. You know, that when I first started real estate, there were bottom lines for people because the seller had no money. So like if they didn't get this amount, they would have to come to the table with money.
Right.
And that wasn't an option. So like, I guess there's some people that list houses that are just turn and burn easy. Like, you know, maybe they're in a new development, so it's so easy to. I tend to get all these convoluted, interesting situations.
Right.
Maybe my helper person, I'm like, let me help you figure this out. Then you get it to me like, something right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you said on a podcast episode last year that one of the ways that you gauge the market is on how many leads you have coming in.
I still do.
Yeah.
So, there was, when the rate started to spike, there was a good week and a half where it was crickets. So I pay for, I'm going to educate, I don't know if I'll get in trouble for this. So Realtor.com and Zillow, when you inquire on those are paid for leads.
Right.
So essentially when you put your name and your number, they've sold your name and your number to agents, which in theory is fine because you need someone to help you.
Like you're getting
If you're inquiring on that app and not talking to your own agent, there's something like, why are you not calling your agent? And I always say that to people when I get to like, why already have an agent? I'm like, why didn't you call them?
That's true.
And the responses are so interesting. A lot of times they're trying to be courteous. They're like, oh, I don't want to bother them. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but that's our job. So anyway, and I don't pay for a ton of that, but I have a decent number of leads. And coming from multiple zip codes, right? So when I've got this radius of leads that I'm collecting from different zip codes and everything goes silent, I'm like, the market has shifted. And so they're like, and then that just tells me I gotta pivot, right? Like one, if the leads aren't coming in from these apps that are well used and well known, then I need to hit the pavement and start generating old school way. And none of that is thought or done in panic. It's just like, oh, okay, so.
Right, but I would think that would also be a good indicator for you to be able to help clients know that, hey, there's a lot of buyers out there right now, or there's not anything going on. We may need to adjust what we're doing. So that kind of gives you a leg up on that.
Yes, so. And that was a sad conversation for my sellers who listed and did not sell before that shift because having that conversation, and so like one of the listings I have now, they just couldn't get on the market any sooner. So that house a year ago would have already been gone.
Right.
Instead, we're headed into one full week without an offer yet. So now gotta get creative again, right? Like, and chances are that house deserves a first-time home buyer. So I'm probably gonna push on the weekend for some open houses and trying to meet that client who it fits.
Right.
It's a process.
Yeah, it is a process. So, again, we had also mentioned last week too that inventory is slowly starting to creep up. So if the buyers are there,
slowly, I just heard inventory like a month or two ago in our area was 200 houses for sale.
Yes.
And now it's like 550.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
like,
is that
you?
Yeah.
Not slowly, it just doubled. Right?
Well, I wasn't sure when it was at 200. I just remember.
I think it was the last month or two.
Okay.
I remember I said that to a client to just be like, your competition literally doubled. And the buyers have dwindled because if what you have to think is that when the rates dropped because of the pandemic, suddenly everyone who didn't know anything about anything is aware of the rates. It's on TV, it's on the so all these buyers are getting educated on these rates, and now you have all these rate conscious buyers. I want a low rate. It's like when you walk into the store and you see a sale. It could be 50% off. You don't need it, but you want it because it's 50% off. Like all of a sudden you want a house because it's 2.5%. That's like giving money away, So all these people, it just keep flying out of the woodwork. And now that it's gone back to what it always was. It's been like a 4, 5, 6 situation for a while. And everybody, in the 80s it was 18%. So all it's perspective. So, we lost the rate conscious people. They're done. They're like, I'll wait for it to drop. We're like, we'll keep waiting. Nobody's predicting that it'll be 100 years before you see 2.5 again. We're almost 100% sure.
Oh yeah. Well, that actually leads me to my next point.
Oh,
It's a fabulous
like I
segue.
read this, like I read it
Right?
10 times. By the way, I never know the questions.
Right.
I was like, I
No.
never know.
So I read a quote actually this morning from Dave Ramsey, who said, "Right now is the best time to buy a house in the next 5 years, and here's why."
Oh, tell us.
Prices are not going to go down. They're
That's
going
right.
to go up slower,
Yeah.
but they're not going to go down. And so 5 years from today, houses are going to be more expensive. So this is the best time right now if you're going to buy a house. If interest rates come back down, refinance.
That's it.
But don't not buy waiting on interest rates to come down.
We need to send that to my other client.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a picture of that and be like, "Hey, we discussed this today. I just thought you should know." He's struggling because he thinks the housing market's gonna crash. Guys, it's not gonna crash.
It's not going to crash.
It's not gonna. And I'm like, if it does, somebody turn this into a meme because I'm sitting here going, "It's not gonna crash." Like, but all the things that were there for it to crash in 7 and 8 are not there now. None of them are there now.
No.
It is so hard to get a loan.
Yeah.
That's what caused the crash.
Right.
You know, it's just that has not changed. The things they put in place to prevent a crash are still there.
Yeah.
All that happened is we had a pandemic, and in order to save the economy or whatever the reason was to drop these rates, that's all that happened. And now the rates they've restabilized because the pandemic is doing whatever it's doing, and you know the bank can't sustain a 2.5. You know, it had to shift. So yeah, he's right. Like nobody in my industry thinks that the housing market's going down. It will just continue to. Yes, it will slowly climb. Yes, 100%.
So buying now. So
We're not, it's not going to inflate, but yeah, like look, when I bought my house in 2016, people are looking at wishing they would have bought that. That's what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel like and my rate was 5.
Right.
Okay, people wish they bought when I bought because my house was cheaper than it is now. It'll be the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you want my 5% rate? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's just perspective. Like, I think
absolutely.
everybody, sensationalism is what drives the world right now, and everybody just needs to calm down
Yeah.
and make the best decision for you. It has nothing to do with rates, with if you are ready to buy a home, buy a home.
Yeah.
The rest of it we can figure out as we go.
No, that's true. I mean, and again, I'm gonna keep driving this point, being on my side of it,
Yeah.
because again, the success of an agent is by being paired up with a lender who's also as educated as you are about what's going on, so that these reluctant clients that you have are going to understand how to proceed and how to feel comfortable doing so.
Right, and the lender too can. So I work closely with. We've had her on the show
Yeah,
twice now, but one before you,
Yeah.
and one with you. Jen caught the show.
Oh, nice.
And we'll have her back again because she's really great. But the thing about her that I love is that she's not just trying to get a loan.
Right.
She takes each person and looks at their situation. You know, what are your goals? Are you just trying to own a home for 2 years? Then what do you care about rates? What do you care?
Exactly.
What does PMI matter? You're going to be out of it in 2 years. Like, you're just looking to get in and have a home and pull the equity out in 2 years, right? So
Right.
is there enough equity there? Does it make sense? Let's do this.
Yeah.
You know, like it's kind of like going to a financial advisor. They can't just dump you in a box. They got to sit down and look at your whole story. It's the same with a lender, a good lender.
Yeah.
And an agent would be the same way too. You're not just trying to buy a house. This is a wealth portfolio for yourself, and you need to try and make the best decision for that portfolio. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
one of my clients yesterday was just saying, you know, we don't love where we're renting. I don't even love being there. The house is miserable. You know, she's like, I want to be able to stay home on weekends because I like my house. I was like, okay, so important for you isn't finding just somewhere to live. It's finding a place that feels like home.
Right.
Okay, so now we have to compromise. Like, where are we going to compromise next? Which usually comes down to money, right? To get you that space, and then then to find out that these people are not handy, and they're not going to be able to do updating. They're going to have to pay someone else. Well, we both know contractors are short and supplies are expensive.
Yeah.
So now it's like you're better off finding that home that's more money and in the shape you want it than thinking you're going to spend less money and have to bring it up to speed. You know, like I even had somebody the other day, my little client fell out of the chair when she found it was going to cost $3,000 to paint the exterior, like all that peeling paint.
Oh, right.
She's like, $3,000. I'm like, that's cheap.
That's really cheap. Coming from a paint contractor, that is extremely cheap.
I was like, oh honey, 'cause she's bought an old home. I'm like, she is not ready.
No.
So, you know, it's just, and then you didn't know that about someone until that conversation happened. So now, before she closed, I'm like, hey, so we want to start to budget because that is a reasonable amount of money.
Yeah.
So, and that's part of this is really just a huge amount of education. Like this poor guy called today trying to see a property, and he's asking about termites, and I'm like, our contract in the state of Virginia requires that the seller handle that before close.
Yeah.
I said, and I said, just in case you decide to look outside areas where we have sewer and water, county, city sewer and water, the seller's also required for, and he goes, this house doesn't have septic, does it? I'm like, no, it doesn't. I'm just educated. Like, I realize I keep falling into like educator role. Like, you don't care to know this. Okay, sorry. Like, I'm like going off in this like, because I'm thinking, weird for me coming from where I come from. There was no septic that I knew of, or well. And if my friend said septic and well, nobody talked about everything. Like, I was like, what is septic? Like, I got down here, I'm like, I'm sorry, you keep your poop in the yard? Like, why? Like, to me, it was like, because I grew up outside of Toronto.
Right, no, it's
so,
true.
To me, I don't know, you don't realize when you're moving, because he's not living here, you don't have to go far to get septic.
Yeah, no, it's true.
There, I think 2 neighborhoods over still has septic, from where our office is. My house doesn't, and it's one of the reasons I bought it, because I still can't get past poop in the yard.
No, it's true.
Just what?
Right?
But it's normal, and so like, I feel like it's my job to help educate people about that stuff. And
Knowledge is power.
Yeah, and I just started, and then, you go down the rabbit hole, and the guy's like, wait, what are you talking about? I was like, oh, sorry.
Too much knowledge. Poop in the
I'm
road.
down for well, though. Well water tastes great.
Well water is
Yeah,
fabulous.
it is. But septic thing.
Well, I can't even believe that I'm having to say this, but fall is not that far away.
Okay, first of all, I am going to share this with you guys because I live by myself, so I talk to myself all the time. And I don't always talk back. So, which is good.
Yes, right.
So the other day, I've been watching Christmas in July. My dog loves Hallmark TV, so I've been turning on Christmas in July, and I was walking out the door because it was playing. I left the TV on for him, and it was playing like some Christmas jingle, and I was like, I'm gonna be ready for Christmas. So it's so funny you say fall because I'm like, bring it on. Like,
Right,
I'm actually
no.
ready.
I
Like,
love
I'm ready.
fall.
Fall's probably my favorite
Yeah,
season.
I absolutely love fall. I just can't believe that we can actually say that fall's around the corner now.
Yeah, I mean, we're approaching the end of July.
Yeah, like it's crazy.
But August is my birthday, so it's like a whole month of celebrating.
So good. But in terms of real estate, how does that look? Like fall compared to what's happening in the summer?
Honestly, if we were having this conversation before the pandemic, I could have spelled out to you every month of the year was going to look like, and I would almost be spot on every single one of them. Before the pandemic, this would have been the hottest. My July would have been my busiest month, not my least busiest month.
Crazy.
So I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like I feel like everything in the world is kind of like Mother Nature right now. She's like, I don't know what to do.
Don't know.
Like,
Don't know.
yeah, like
Don't know what's
she
happening.
can't even, because I mean, we shut the world down. She got a chance to breathe. Now all the cars and planes are flying. She's like, what's happening? I feel like that's I that same like
Right.
one day at a time. So I don't know. Like typically when kids went back to school, it would kind of lull out because people weren't wanting to pack up,
Right.
So we were kind of working with a different market. Like the family market was gone, and now we're working with investors or college kids or relocations or like that kind of thing. So, but now, do people go to school?
Right.
Do we just do this at home?
I feel like everyone's at home now.
Does any of this matter? Like,
yeah, so I don't know if school districts even matter anymore.
It'll be really interesting to have this podcast in the fall and talk about what's going on because I have no idea. I just know right now, like I'm working largely with people looking to relocate, people, the necessities. We need a bigger house. We waited too long.
Right.
Who cares about rates? We need more space. Like, and we said this yesterday. That we had that lender meeting yesterday, and we're talking about the market. And there's always people that have to buy and sell.
Yeah.
Always. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. There's always people that have to buy and sell. And so what you're going to see now is the people that kind of got in for the quick buck won't stick. So our business won't dwindle because you're going to have a lot of realtors exiting the business. Just like Stephanie saw an exodus of lenders. A lot of lenders, now that the refis are gone, the rates have gone back up, they went and got another job. So you're going to see a shift, and because a lot of people they thought as agents were turning money hand over fist, and in a way we were, but that it seemed like this easy, quick money thing. Nothing is easy and quick when it comes to money.
Right.
So, and when it shifts, the people that are steady and tried and true will continue to do their business and make their money, and it be a thing. You know, I think if you're looking to sell or you're looking to buy, and you feel like that's what you should be doing, then there's no time like the present. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now, if you're somebody that's in it for investing or in it for, like, if you're in it for some extraneous reason, then you may want to evaluate the market and the rates, et cetera, et cetera. But
absolutely.
yeah, other than that, though, go for it.
Yeah. Dave Ramsey said so. So
No,
just
Dave
go for
Ramsey.
it. Just go for it.
Even though Dave Ramsey, no offense, dude, has made it hard for clients to buy because they have no credit. He's like, have no credit. You're like, you need credit.
You need credit.
Most people can't get $300,000 in cash saved up to get it, you know.
Right, yeah, that's true.
It's just,
that's true.
yeah.
So,
I think he has a lot of cool things to say too. So.
No, he does. Well, now in your 6th year of real estate,
Is it 6?
Yeah, you're still hustling. And I meant to say this at the beginning and I totally forgot, but I am your assistant so I can brag on you.
Oh.
The list came out and you are number 5 in Lynchburg.
I love that he's bragging on me, but I dropped a place.
Well, you dropped a place, but I mean,
I'm
again,
down
again, still top 5.
Fair.
Top 5. All
Out of
you're doing.
1,300 agents.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, and it was funny because I was actually complimenting another agent that made the top 10, and he was like, "What?"
We don't know.
And I was like, well, you know, anyone in the top 10 is hustling, so you guys just don't even know.
No,
so.
no, we need the people on the outside look at because we don't even check stats.
Yeah.
Well, and I think I know who that agent is, and both of us don't do it for the stats.
Right.
So we're not like
Yeah,
I don't.
that's not something you're
It's
gonna
not
be
that I don't
saying.
care about it, but it doesn't matter to me. Like I'm here to help people the best of my ability.
Yeah. Well, and being that you have been in that long, you now have been able to kind of step into that role of mentoring because you got been around long enough to be able to do it. Having agents coming in, we have Abby that's licensed now.
Yep.
You know, Fred's on his way in.
Yep.
So, do you see yourself taking a greater role in that and eventually kind of stepping back from the hustle?
Yes.
You have been doing it a long time. So.
There are people who've done it much longer.
Yes.
I'm the kind of person that doesn't like grass growing under my feet, and so once I've accomplished something, I want to try and accomplish the next thing. And so for me, being able to teach and the teaching background,
Right.
like being able to take the skill set that I've learned and the knowledge I've learned and teach other people how to thrive in this industry,
Right.
appeals to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the goal is to not necessarily not sell houses anymore, but like do it more on a by choice basis. Like, I get to pick and choose who I work with versus anything and everything, and then being able to kind of impart my wisdom to the new agents coming in. So yeah, I think that the mentorship role is something I'm really excited about. I actually I don't think I told you this. So there's like agents that have been, as you know, we've been talking to
Right.
around Virginia about joining the brokerage and having me mentor them. And this one girl was not interested in switching brokerage, but asked if I had a coaching class she could pay for. She literally said, "Do you have a coaching class I can pay for?" And I was like, "So no."
Wow.
And I thought, well, that might be somewhere
That's
to
kinda
go
cool.
down the road
Yeah.
too. Yeah, like at this point, to get my mentorship, you'd want to have to join the brokerage I'm with, and then be part of our community and get the mentoring that way. And there's many other perks besides being mentored by me,
Right.
in our company, so it's worth investigating. But yeah, I thought, down the road,
Yeah.
not everybody wants to, they like love where they are, but would, like to, because I've always said, if you want to do more and do better and be better, go talk to the people who already did it.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I did it.
Right.
Come talk to me.
Come see what I did.
I did it.
Yeah, you did. Well, and then how important is being able to carve out personal time? Because when you're pivoting as an agent, we know that obviously you don't have necessarily a schedule because when it's just constant, but being able to carve out that time.
You say that because I just talked.
I know, right?
He was just at lunch.
I've got an inside scoop.
He was just at lunch, and I was saying to him, I'm like, there's nobody that's gonna let me take a day off.
No.
I have to. So I looked at the week, and there's things that I can get. The only day I was like, okay. The thing is people are trying to already schedule stuff for me tomorrow, but I'm trying to protect tomorrow to be like, I'm gonna clean my house, hang out with my dog, do laundry, because I haven't literally had. I don't know the last time I've had a full day off, unless I leave town.
Right.
And even then,
your phone is still going.
well, and it'll probably go tomorrow too, but
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna actually come to the office or actually. And it's important, like I think, you know, and if you talk to anyone that's super, super successful, it's not that we need your standard 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Like, I think if you're going to be really successful, you got to embrace the idea that you're always working.
Right.
But it's recognizing when you need to hit pause. Like, every 2 weeks, take a day off.
Yeah.
Like, most humans have 2 every week. You know, like, so 2, I feel like I'm trying not to feel bad about the fact that, like, I've been working 11 days straight, 12 days straight, that like tomorrow I'm gonna actually just take the day for myself.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to set yourself up for it too, you know, like letting everyone know, like, hey, I'll talk to you Friday, do you need anything today? I'll handle it today, otherwise I'll handle it on Friday.
Right.
So, you know, doing that for yourself too. I think it's important because burnout's real.
Yeah, no, it's totally real. And you really, I mean, it's important if you're going to be successful to be able to, you have to take care of yourself.
Burnout's real. And that's why the homestead, like I would find these places that I could kind of escape to. And I started to like to travel alone too, because when you go alone, you can actually decompress. Like in our business, we're around people all the time,
right.
You know, and that's kind of why like it's nice to go to home and it's just Joshua, but even then he's still like, ah.
Right.
So like it's nice, you know, to go away like the homestead and I get Joshua and watch Joshua and I literally just. And then and even though Chad's like, you're still on your phone, like the service is kind of spotty there. Yeah, you know, but yeah, like I can't show a property. I can't.
Right. Yeah.
You know, work really is kind of halted. So it's important, and I think it is something that very successful people learn to do. Otherwise, you will burn out, and with burnout comes failures. And, you know, so you have to balance.
Yeah.
But everybody's balance is different too, right?
Yeah. No,
Like some
absolutely.
people need time off every week.
Yeah.
Evidently, I don't. But
No, so you're able to run pretty hard, but you do find those times.
no, I have
So,
to.
yeah.
Tomorrow you won't see me, and then
Yeah.
Chad gets Friday off, so we'll see each other on the weekend.
That's right. We make it work.
Make it work.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yes, thanks for
That was
hosting.
awesome.
Thanks for hosting all the time.
Yes, absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you. See you next time.
Cheers.